me a title. It made my
No
job.
problem. Yeah.
Geez, there's so much like permissive. I have to get consent for everything here. Yeah, fine, got it. Going live.
Yeah, true.
Jeez.
Hashtag me too, Scott.
Hashtag me too going live.
Made my Hold on. I had to mute myself. All right. Can you hear me? Are we live?
I can hear you.
That's all that matters, Scott.
I can hear you.
Are we doing this just for ourselves, though? That's the question.
Yes. Everyone that's watching and playback, especially, you're going to see this and wonder why we're on our phones, not paying attention. We're just going to be tweeting out the link like we've been doing all day. And if you are a pro that's been watching NanCon all day, you know that. So bear with us for the first few minutes while we allow people to come on. In just a second, my partner is going to send me the link. Boys, I will have that sent to you.
Oh, perfect.
Dope.
Dope.
What?
Well, I'm guessing this whole thing is going to skew a younger crowd. So I'm
What do you
trying to
mean?
be cool. So I used the
Try to
word
relate.
dope. I said dope, and then I did this.
He was like,
Is that
What
right?
is that?
that's exactly what it is.
Dope.
Actually, if it skews too young, I'm out of it as well.
Oh, no.
Really?
Guys, I mean, I know I'm young, but I don't know what's happening.
What do you mean you don't skew young? You were just drawing on your face with a crayon all day long, or a magic marker or something.
You're in
skew young.
timeout. Go tweet the link that I just sent you.
Okay.
Not you, Harris. You're not in timeout. It's Scott. Scott. Go tweet the link.
No, I won't go timeout, but I'll tweet this link.
Thank you.
Thank you, Harris.
No problem. No problem.
The viewers are coming in slow
Here's
but
the
steady.
link. What am I supposed to do with this link?
Share it, Scott.
I'm copying it.
Hey, Scott. Why is your face black, but like the hair on your face black, but the rest of it is white? Can you
You'll
tell
have
me?
to ask the good Lord above.
Okay.
That's just how it's all white here, and this stuff is still black. So I look. You don't know who Leon Redbone is. I look like Leon Redbone, but you see, there's whites in there. The white's coming. It's just not there yet. So I look really cool. I think there should be a vote amongst the people watching. Do we love it? No. Hey, don't prejudice the crowd.
No one cares about me. They're all here for you two.
Who am I sending this link to?
Scott, can you just tweet it and say that you're
Tweet
live?
it. All right. I don't really like Twitter much anymore, but I'll tweet it. Hold on.
I think it's called a live tweet, in fact.
Is that what it's called? I'm live tweeting.
Okay. Hi guys. I just want to say hello to everyone watching. We are
Hi,
going to have an
everybody.
interview. We're going to have a little panel. I'm hoping to not get serious. There's only one thing I want to get serious about, and it's the work that Scott's doing with the foundation. After that, we're not going to be serious. This is going to be wild. We're going to be free-flowing.
That's right.
There's going to be vocal nudity. I don't know what that means.
What does that mean?
And we're going to have a great time.
That's awesome.
That is awesome, Harris.
We are. I apologize.
We're bearing all.
This is like the worst part. You've just started the worst party ever. Like it's a party where we're all on our phones.
It's a QAF phone panel.
Scott, I've missed you.
I missed you too.
Oh wow, this reminds me of our little outings in public and how I'm like, wow, he really said that in public around people. That's cool.
Well, what else am I to do? There, I tweeted.
Thank you, buddy.
The link. Is that all I'm supposed to do?
And now
Just send in the link to the people,
Mhm.
and then they click on it. All right, cool.
All right. So our viewers are coming in slow and steady. If you guys are watching live, thank you so much. If you're watching in playback, I apologize for all that. This will be up for anyone who wants to rewatch and stare at their beautiful faces and just imagine lovely things. Not that though. That's Scott's face. Harris, how are you doing? This is your first time technically live on anything with Nerd Alert News. I love this shirt you have going on. How's it going?
Thank you. I'm doing really well. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. Actually, since it's Nerd Alert News, I need to share this mask right here.
Oh,
That I've been rocking
I
for the
love
last.
playing to the crowd.
It's
I
fun.
It would be good. I have to ask, were you ever considered for Spider-Man?
No, but that'd be so cool.
You would be really good as
Oh,
Spider-Man.
thanks. That's super cool. I feel like I'm the right amount of nerdy.
Yeah.
No, it would be awesome, actually. Yeah.
Are you flexible?
Yeah, I'm pretty I do a lot of yoga, things
Take
like
it
that.
easy, Jadine.
Yeah, I just get right down to it.
Wow.
We know you're flexible, Scott.
I didn't know. I thought this was like a live stream, not Tinder.
We've seen you be flexible, Scott.
I'm very flexible. It's true.
Same.
Can we go back to what we were talking about before we came live on the air? Is it all right that I don't mean to take over? Did you have
Just
questions?
One second. Hold on. Harris and I are drinking our
Oh yeah, look at the drink.
Harris and I guess Scott is as well. We bonded over beers and our love for specialty beers. So if you see us sipping, we will be doing this. Let's get a quick virtual cheers.
The QAF appropriate beer.
There you go.
The Pride beer.
You're right. It is. It's
cheers.
That's the right colors.
Rainbow flag. Oh, sorry. Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers, everyone.
Bless you all.
Okay, Scott, if you would like to take over.
Is that all right? All right. So we were talking about how Harris looks like he's a little angel, and everyone just assumes that he's just this pure as the driven snow, never said a curse word in his life kind of guy. And so I wanted to ask, like, is that a blessing or a curse to have that? Does that let you slide into situations where, you know, you get to play like the nice guy and then you get to get down and dirty, or does it just, is it always a drag?
Well, it's kind of interesting as well because I played on Queer as Folk such a outrageous character, so many lines were outrageous. So that's kind of funny too, that somehow I give off this vibe that I'm super wholesome and don't make any like dirty jokes or anything. And then in real life, it's quite the opposite. And that the kind of dialogue from the show was like stuff that was pretty like normal, I guess you'd say, or like familiar.
I said just JD was like, I don't know if I can like say dirty jokes around.
So funny.
Okay,
I said he grew up on our show. What are you talking about?
I get that. Funny. I get that, but if you spend 12 seconds with Scott, you know that there's like the most depraved thing you can think of. Shut up, Scott. You're lucky I said 12 and not 7. You know you can say the most depraved thing and he will one-up you no matter what. You figure that out immediately. With Harris, like we were in the group chat and I really wanted to just write these awful, hilarious jokes. And I was like, but the Bean is there. I don't know if he's gonna, I just don't know. Speaking of Bean, Sabine is here. If you guys on a separate account, like a separate device want to pull up the feed.
Hi, Sabine.
Wow.
What do you mean? What are you talking about?
Muted.
So we could see the chat, right?
Yes.
Oh.
Just keep it muted, please. And you can just react to the chat if you'd like, or I can just read the comments for you, however you like.
All right, I'm going to do that on this larger device.
Guys, and just remember that there is a 20 to 30 second delay from when they hear it and then when we see their comments.
All right.
Super cool. Hi, Sabine. Thanks for joining us.
All right. Well, we can kind of get started. I mean, we've gotten started. I don't have a game plan for this little panel. Calling it a panel is just for marketing purposes only. I think it's going to be more of a laid back, chill chit chat, give the people what they want to hear. See, watch. No.
I'll do an intro for it. QAF party panel. Yeah! Yeah!
I love you guys so much.
We can do a theme song next time. Like
oh my god.
They're a panel, but they party.
Yeah. Well, why didn't you write us one, Harris?
Yeah.
What have you been doing for the past week?
Yeah,
good
right?
Huh.
Yeah.
Up to no good.
It's not like you have music or anything. Do you?
Nothing going on. I did just put out a song yesterday.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
How did it go? How did the drop go?
I know, you're surprised. It went really well. Can't complain. Everyone's streaming. It's going really well.
What is it called?
It's called Eyes on You. And it's a dance track.
Deep House?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a deep house track.
Wow.
It's perfect. It's about the euphoria when two people meet on a sweaty dance floor at
Ooh.
2 a.m. It's like the type of thing that would be played at Babylon, probably.
Mhm.
That sounds very appropriate.
If I wanted to listen to the song on various platforms, where could I go to listen to it?
You can go everywhere that music is released. It's everywhere: Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube. Been doing a lot of things on my YouTube channel too, so if anyone's interested in more content, that's the place to go. You can find everything under my name. Everything is Harris Allan. So.
Is it your name? Are you sure?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, so the music that I heard from you, like previously, when you sent me this track, because I had a sneak peek, guys. I was really shocked because I don't think I had heard anything like that from you. Maybe there's other stuff, but just what I heard, I hadn't heard anything deep house or anything like that from you. So where did that inspiration kind of come from?
Well, I did DJ for 5 years or so, and so I did a lot of like clubs and things like that. So it was funny actually, like people that knew I DJ'd were expecting that off the bat. And so when I did One Last Ride as my first song, it was kind of a curveball for them. But then since I've been putting out songs that are more chill and mellow, like then now this is a curveball. So I just keep wanting to throw curveballs.
I love it.
Why aren't you playing baseball then? I feel like you're in the wrong.
I should be
Wasn't
doing
one of your like covers like in like a baseball field, or am I making that up?
Oh,
it looked
yeah,
like
because MOB has a narrative that's around Marilyn Monroe and Joe DiMaggio, so that may be where there's like a baseball reference there.
like don't you have a photo in like sand? It kind of looked like the sand.
Like, oh yeah, that's a sand trap. That's on a golf course.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I don't know
yeah, the cover art for my song All In was done at a golf course in a sand trap. And I thought that'd be so funny. So a friend of mine who's an amazing photographer, we just spitballed the concept and then went to do it. And so that was the idea, because it's all called All In, and then I'm a golf nut, and so kind of put the two together, but then tried to spin it and just had this image of that in my mind. So it was more like taking something that pops into your brain and just creating it in real life. Yeah.
I see you, Scott. And I also
very hard time.
Yeah. Usually there's a button on the side of your phone that's like low volume.
I know, but
are you deep in the chat, Scott?
I'm deep in the chat.
He's deep in something, all right.
Whatever that means. There we go. Oh, live chat. I was in the wrong thing.
Oh,
He's deep.
Oh, jeez. So I didn't realize that you liked golfing.
Yeah, it's been a passion the last few years. Kind of obsessed for a while with it, and it's a weird thing too, because like I never imagined myself to be obsessed with it either. But once you get like bit by the bug, it's pretty hard to let go.
Well then, okay, all right.
But it's kind of like, it's weird too, because there's like a lot of stuff about the golf world that I don't agree with, or like it's not my vibe. But then the game itself is super addictive and challenging and takes so much focus that it's just like all consuming, and it's just like, yeah, it's something that you can do where you don't think about anything else.
Okay.
Which is cool.
What do you disagree with in the golf world?
Just like, the classic like cliche stuff where people think it's like stuffy and old and white and exclusive, like all that stuff obviously doesn't, it rubs me the wrong way. But then there's also a lot of cool things going on with the younger crowd right now that people are trying to shift in a different direction, which is really cool.
Is there an alt golf scene?
Yeah, there is actually. Like there's a lot of people that are pushing more like grassroots, casual, inclusive, creating more of an environment that's more, it's like similar, and apparently overseas, which I I haven't been to anywhere in Europe except for Germany when we did the convention, but apparently over there it's a lot more casual and inclusive and accessible than in North America. So there's a lot of people try to shift that direction. And
Do they wear crazy pants?
yeah, but just everyday life I wear crazy pants.
Nice.
So I just take what I'm wearing normally and then
just take it to the golf course.
That's an oxymoron, I guess. Normally crazy, but I just walk on.
Normal is crazy. Crazy is normal.
Crazy shirt.
Harris has his normal makeup on. His normal people makeup on.
I'm wearing my normal hair today.
I love it. I love it.
Jadine's going to throw into the chat a link to her coloring on her face.
Yes.
Earlier to show you what non-normal people makeup looks like, I guess.
It was amazing.
Thank you, Harris. Thank you.
I got to watch it in real time.
Did you? You tuned in did you join her?
Yes, Scott. He was there.
Were you coloring on your face at the same time?
I was doing it. I was following the tutorial.
That's scary. Because that was not a tutorial.
That would actually be fun though to do and then show up.
Here's what's scary. When I was in high school, I always played the old guys, and I would have to like spray the white stuff on my hair, and now it's like there permanently, and I would have to do
foreshadowing,
like, draw the bags under the eyes and the little that. I used to do that with a pencil like Jadine, and now so I'm just worried you're going to end up with like a star on your head later on in life.
Just in there and whatever.
I'm a star, guys.
It's true.
What about some of the crazy looks that Ted had as well?
He only had one real crazy look when he went
bleach
blonde. Hair. Other than that, his looks were all just terrible.
No Teddy hate.
They weren't crazy, just terrible. Oh my God, just so many like bad t-shirts with polo shirts over them. And
he tried. He meant well.
Ted wasn't very comfortable with his body for a very long time.
Scott was quite comfortable with his body.
I shouldn't have been at times, but I got there, yes.
Body positivity at its best. If you guys ever want to see just body positivity, I recommend Here's Folk.
Well, I will say though, like, because message boards were a very new thing back when we started the show, and I thought, oh, this will be cool to read. And it was maybe even I don't know, it was somewhere in the first season. It wasn't too long in the first season. Oh, let me go on the Showtime website and read a message board. And I saw one old queen wrote something like, "Please, dear God, don't ever let him take his shirt off again." And I was like, okay, I think I'm done with the message board.
Oh man,
that was it for the message board.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, you both were in some interesting lack of wardrobe for some time, and I've had a lot of conversations with Scott about this. It's weird. But anyway, Harris, I actually haven't heard from you. Shut up, Scott. Talk about your nudity comfortability level and like what that was like for you, just right off the bat, just being like, cool, this is what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, the first day I was on set was the nude scene of just like when I'm in Michael and Ben's apartment and I come out of the bathroom. That was the first day on set, but I mean, the environment on Queer as Folk, especially like they were in the third season by the time I got there, so everybody was like, everything was finely tuned to be like supportive and comfortable, and I didn't feel like uncomfortable about the idea at all because everybody was so supportive and they'd figured everything out, and the set was so professional, and the crew and everybody, like the crew was there was obviously like with the storylines of Hunter, there was obviously like a vibe of, oh wow, this is like, we're doing this, but we're all doing it together. Like that was the thing, is that we were doing stuff that was so outrageous and groundbreaking, but the vibe that I got was that we were all doing it together, and that it was we were doing a good thing by putting things out there that were opening people's eyes to different parts of the world that they might not know about. And so I never felt uncomfortable about it, but Yeah, just with the subject matter and things like that, it was more interesting because of the creative side of things and the acting side of things, and then but I was spoiled too because the cast that I was surrounded by was so um, healthy and everyone was supportive. So I wasn't. I mean, it could have been in a different setting or with a different group of people. It might have been weird, but because everything was so healthy and and comfortable, it was more.
Had you,
It was more like
did you watch the show before? I mean, were you old enough to watch the show beforehand? Had you watched any before you joined in or signed up?
no, I hadn't. I hadn't seen the American version because I'd seen the years before. I'd seen ads for the British version on Showcase, but I hadn't watched the show beforehand. And then I ended up watching like season 1 and 2 part way through working on the show.
Got it.
Which is like maybe kind of a good thing to go in completely blind and then just be lost in the world of Hunter. But at the same time, that when I watched the first 2 seasons, it just made me more happy to be a part of it, and yeah, it was cool. It was cool to be able to experience the first 2 seasons as a viewer and just like a fan, like just as a. I got to see it without myself in it as well for the first 2 seasons, so it was cool to just like take the show as a viewer and
right. Just meet the characters as your character was meeting the characters.
Yeah,
that's
it was really cool. But then seeing the storylines in season 1 and 2 and seeing the production and everything how it turned out as well was really cool. Yeah.
Well, so like with Scott's character Ted, he had a evolution to the dark side at a certain point, but your character kind of came in with a rough past and present, like just straight out, like how was that just preparing for him, not really having like a nice sweet introduction of like, okay, he's involved in some weird stuff, not super safe, and he has a lot of interesting things about him that we're gonna find out, but that aren't also healthy or perfect to his lifestyle, especially being so young. And like you didn't have any time as that character to kind of come in and just say, oh, I'm a happy teenager. Like you really just came in just kind of like as a messed up wayward teenager. How was that just kind of like preparing for that right off the bat?
That's true. And I kind of did like a reverse of that storyline because but it was, I mean, I did research on certain things beforehand, and then also as the storylines unfolded, as discovering that he has HIV, then it was more about figuring out what that would be like and how to portray that aspect of it. And I mean, it is dark material. I was actually thinking about this earlier today when I was thinking about the shooting of Queer as Folk, and it's also because we dealt with dark storylines and things like that, but the cast and the crew on set was like a healthy, happy environment. Like everybody was like, we joke with each other and have laughs and things like that. And so it kind of cut some of that tension, or, it was, we were serious on the day of what we were doing and everyone respected the material so much, but there was so much love and laughter within the cast and crew that it cut some of that intensity, for when we were setting up or in between, or when we were hanging out with each other and stuff. So it did cut some of that darkness, but yeah, it's heavy. It's a heavy material, and I mean, looking back on it now too, if the older I get, the more I would actually understand the severity of some of these things as well. So being so young coming on the show, I was 16 and soon after 17, like, yeah, I understood a lot of it, but there's also things that obviously you don't understand until you're older to full scope, right? So there was also that like naivete that helped with not taking it so dark personally, or like getting into a unhealthy mindset personally, I think that helped too. But it breaks my heart to think about it now, for sure. Like thinking about that character's existence does break my heart now, as looking at it as someone who's twice their age, right? Like I definitely sympathize it. It's yeah. So that was an interesting thing too.
So how old were you exactly when you got the?
I was 16 when I booked the role, and then shortly after 17.
So how naked were you, and how did that work? Like legally? No, I'm serious because like you weren't 18. Like how does that work? Like is it fine in Canada? Like what is that like?
Yeah, there were actually like there were versions of the script that had full frontal actually at one point, and then it was dealing with like well, is it even legal to do that on TV? And then we had to go back to, because also it was the character was 15, so
Yes.
that age factor didn't it wouldn't have been even legal to do that. But then we ended up doing what was legal, and I think it made sense what we ended up doing, and it made sense the way it was written before though as well, because like, I mean, aside from just being shocking, it would also be like consistent with that character's storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Well, like obviously anything that's in TV or movies like makes sense if it makes sense for that character.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we ended up doing a slight variation from what the script was when I got cast, but yeah, it was just like just the backside, and then a bunch of like simulated scenes, which are like the simulated scenes aren't that crazy a lot of the time because it's all behind the scenes, right? Like it's all.
No, but I was just wondering like what the legality of that is with you not being 18.
Yeah, we ended up doing, I guess, what was. I'm not even sure if like maybe shooting in Canada adjusted it slightly. I haven't looked into that, but like maybe that had some.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, they're definitely a lot more permissive in terms of sexuality. You know, it's much more that British mentality where they actually like violence is something they keep away from kids, but sex is normal, as opposed to the US.
Yeah.
And because we would get 12-year-olds, you know, stalking us out on set.
Yeah.
Who were watching it up in Canada, because our show was we were on basic cable up there.
Wow.
Showcase was a basic cable channel. There wasn't subscription. You didn't need your parents to watch. It was just like, there's some, you know, adult stuff happening on here, but it's healthy for the kids to see that kind of intercourse going on. So, So I don't know if like what age of consent is or all that kind of stuff up there, as far as, you know, how legal it was. We'd have to.
Yeah, well, it's just interesting because even though like there is, so like in New York, the legal age of consent is 17, but for a 17-year-old to have a photo of them that is nude, that's still illegal.
Right.
Even though it's the legal age of consent. So that's why I was just curious, because like you were on camera, bud, you know?
It is kind of crazy.
Why are you so ready with information on that, Jadine?
There's no way I could answer that.
It is wild though. I mean, it is an interesting thing. I agree with everything that Scott was saying about the fact that there's a difference in the viewpoint of what is considered provocative I was thinking about this the other day as well, and the news is sometimes way more detrimental to kids' psyche than these shows that are showing something that's healthy and natural, whereas the news sometimes is way more detrimental, I think, to like kid psyche, but then also our psyche as a society and everything. So I think, and especially with the show Queer as Folk, like everything was done with a certain level of respect for every angle of it. And I mean, were there any things when you were shooting, Scott, that you had to go back and forth with based on
as far as legality of that, or we can't do that kind of thing, you mean?
Yeah, or legality, or just that the fact that people were discussing like, should we do this or shouldn't we do this, or how do we, like, were there versions of a script where it was like, oh man, I don't know, should we do this, and then there's a meeting or something, and then
I mean, I think there were, I don't know that there was, because we never really had fully that power to say like, this is you're pushing it too far here. But I mean, there was certainly, when it came down to the sex meetings before you would shoot the scenes, you were able to say, yeah, I'm not really fully comfortable showing that or doing this, but rarely did that card get played. I mean, as I think I've told, I mean, I used a body double once when Ted was getting gang raped. That was the only time I ever asked for a body double and said no to doing something, just because I felt like, if he didn't remember it, I didn't need to remember it either. And I knew they were going to shoot it like a snuff film, and it just was really gross. And our script supervisor walked off the set, like nobody wanted to be there for that scene. It was just really gross. So yeah, I think that's the only thing that I can recall for myself. And I don't know for anybody else if there's anything.
You did have a silver lining though with that when they asked, right, who wanted to be the body double.
Yes, I did. A very, very sweet guy who was one of our background artists who had recently moved to Toronto from Mexico, and he was a huge fan of the show. And he was just like, I'll do it. It was like, he just wanted his picture taken with me, and he's like, I'll do anything. I was like, okay, fine.
That's amazing. Well, but it also makes sense. I mean, there's certain things that you should insulate yourselves from, and then him not doing the journey you did psychologically, it would be different, right? Like it's and like when you're into those darker storylines too, and you're living that and going through that, it sticks on your soul a little bit. And I felt like I had enough sticking to my soul at that point in time. I don't need a gang rape on top. No, it makes sense.
Oh, I should have put a trigger warning on.
No, it makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, everybody.
No, you're fine.
Sorry to.
I was so worried about like all of the, all the bad words, and I was like, that. I forgot about that.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
That's so funny. But I don't think any of us, none of us have sworn or anything yet.
Not yet.
We've talked about what?
Are you effing kidding me?
Oh wow.
We've talked about things that are provocative, but we haven't actually said anything that would.
Well, I feel like we got off topic from the beginning though too. I still want to hear if Harris feels it's a good thing or a bad thing. Does he use his powers as being considered this like?
Well, I don't. That's the thing is that. Well, okay, so I have the experience with other people and thinking this dynamic about them. I never imagined myself to be in this situation where so certain people you just think that I should be a little more careful, or maybe I don't offend them, or if I say something and then so it's funny to now be in that seat right now as the person where.
I'm scared to say something dirty.
I mean, it's like, and Scott there was never a situation where I was like, oh, we can't talk about that, or we've never had a filter or anything.
Do you feel the pressure though of like shattering people's illusions if you go like, oh, fuck this?
Yeah, right. It's like kind of like the Krusty the Clown thing where it's like he's the clown and then he smokes and drinks off.
That's right behind scenes. That's how
berates everyone, and it's like.
Those fuckers bought it again.
Yeah.
Go be the nice guy. Hold on. Fucking assholes.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, hi, everybody. It's me, Harris.
Yeah. It's like, before we started live streaming, I was berating someone for no reason. I fired someone. I evicted somebody, and
wow.
Let me know, Harris Allen is the biggest asshole.
Well, I mean, you've yet to say anything like super. I mean, you've even with all the sex talk, you've done it in such a tasteful way.
That's true. I mean, well, it's also like I guess like I've also with regards to Queer as Folk, it's like now in our 2021 reality, right?
Yeah.
Would Queer as Folk be the same show? I don't know. Like how and not in a bad way, but just in a.
Would it be provocative?
No. I know personally, like I don't want to offend people if I didn't know that I was offending them, or like I don't like if you're somebody that's super considerate of people's feelings and doesn't want to do anything insensitive, it's like hard to. It is hard to like know what goes with certain people, right? Like as far as like not in a bad way, but just knowing that I don't want to disrespect anyone. So how do I know to be respectful of as well, right? It's like I know like I mean, there's few things that would shock me, and there's few things that would offend me personally, but there are certain things that people can get crazy, and there's so many crazy things happening, and yeah, it's interesting to think about context and like how things are. We're becoming a healthier society, and like figuring out where like, and also with comedy, like how it's interesting with comedy because there's like a fine line between people being funny and then not to be serious or too serious, but it's an interesting topic, right? Like
no, it is.
Oh yeah,
It's not, I mean, I think you're right, and I think I think the show with some really edgy writers now. I mean, there's a lot to rebel against still, you know, and that's the nature of the show back in the 2000s. Again, if you just think historically where we were in the United States in 2000 through 2005, I mean, this is all the Bush years. This is, trying to get a constitutional amendment passed to ban gay marriage. This is, or define marriage as between a man and a woman. And this is Don't Ask, Don't Tell is still going on. And the Defense of Marriage Act, all these things and all these anti-gay legislations that were going on throughout the country. Matthew Shepard, I mean, so much terrible stuff happening in the country that Queer as Folk was fighting against. And sadly, so much of this stuff they were fighting against, we're still fighting against now. Yeah. But, now there's more to bounce back against, even within the gay community. And I mean, I hate it that it's like two of the cis, straight cast members are here talking about the gay community with our show. But the sort of political correctness and the cancel culture that's going on, I think there would be a lot to push the envelope on with the show that would piss people off, and probably in a good way. I don't know that the version that they're going to be able to do on Peacock, given that it's not a subscription channel like Showtime was. I think it's probably going to be a little more sanitized, I'm guessing, than ours. I don't know. I don't want to cast any aspersions, but I don't know that they're going to be able to quite take the risks that we did on our show. But I think there's certainly a lot of issues, some of the old issues that are still there, but some new ones as well to deal with a much more diversified community. When we were doing the show, it was pretty much just LGBT, and now it's LGBTQIA, and on and on and on. There's so many more colors in the rainbow now that deservedly should have their stories told, and in really challenging ways, looking at both sides of those issues. So yeah, it would be hard, to have our version of the show right now, but I think it's very, very needed and very would be extraordinarily relevant. And still, you need that fly in the ointment, right? You need somebody pushing those outer edges of the envelope to get people to stop being so safe about how they think about things. And
I actually wanted to transition right into some work that you're doing, Scott. Like you said, there's still a lot of work to be done, and we're still fighting for things we were fighting for 20 years ago. You're working with the Tyler Clementi Foundation, correct?
That's correct. I just joined their board back in January. I got introduced to them. I mean, I knew of them, but I started working with them last year when Michelle Clooney actually had known Jane Clementi. And for those unfamiliar with the Clementi Foundation or where they come from, back in 2010, there was a young student at Rutgers, Tyler Clementi, who was a student there, gay, out, was going to be having a date over in his room one night, and let his roommate know, would you mind if I have the room tonight? And the roommate said, yeah, no problem. And then proceeded to set up his computer with the camera on, and he live streamed the intimate encounter between Tyler and his date, and proceeded to humiliate him online and in a very brutal fashion. And Tyler became very distraught at this and ended up sadly taking his life. And so his mother, Jane, started this foundation in his honor, which is fighting bullying, especially cyberbullying, but also bullying in schools, also bullying by religions. She's a very religious woman herself, Catholic. So it's this doubly pronged kind of thing of focusing on kids, focusing on online bullying, but also trying to get religions out there that are trying to shame members of the LGBTQ plus community into, obedience with how they see things. And yeah, it's stuff that's still going on. And we saw in Spain just, earlier this month, this guy who's killed for just being gay, right? So this stuff is still going on. It's still a dangerous world, despite all the progress we've made, in all aspects. Same with Black Lives Matter. Yes, there's been some progress, but obviously things are still really awful. And so, I was asked by Michelle, who knew Jane Clementi for a while, and Jane had approached Michelle about having some of the cast join them for their big gala fundraiser last fall. And as tends to happen with any of our QAF cast events, I get the call saying like, "Hi, would you mind doing this for me? Because I don't." So I said, "Sure, Michelle, let me help you out." She's raising a kid. I'm raising a dog and a cat. So I have time. So I started to work with them more and really became impressed with the organization, who they were, their mission, all that stuff. And the fundraising event, the gala, went really, really well. We had a great time, great conversation with people. They raised a lot of money. And so they asked me to join the board. And I had never done that before because it's a lot of work. And you really need to believe in what you're working for on that board. And I really do believe what they're doing. So yeah, I joined them back in January, and I have some cool things I'm working on with them. It's hit some roadblocks with it, but I'm not giving up yet as far as trying to get into high schools more, get the message into high schools, especially through high school theater departments, because I figure, where is that nexus of LGBTQ plus people who are bullied, and it's high school theater departments. So having come through that myself. So I want to start working with them throughout the country to raise awareness, raise money as well for the Clementi Foundation. And so that's kind of the project I'm working on. But I really encourage everybody to go check out their website, tylerclementi.org, and get involved, because they're looking for what we call upstanders. Rather than just being a bystander when you see somebody being bullied, be an upstander. Get in there, promise and swear, I'm going to defend somebody who's maybe has a little less power than somebody else, and I'm not going to let them be bullied. It's a really great program, as well as another program they have called Day One, where they're really trying to get into the schools early. Get kids when they're in elementary school and start talking to them about this stuff, because I can't imagine. I mean, Harris, you didn't grow up in a world of social media, right? It was you were already a teenager, at least by the time it was there. You didn't have to grow up as a kid with Twitter and all that nonsense. Facebook.
No, it's a lot different. I mean, yeah, there was nothing as a kid that was like what we have today. I mean, it was a different world for sure. I mean, the only thing we had that was social in high school was MSN Messenger, where you chat to people. That was like the first texting chat thing, but it was not like. I
don't even know what that is.
Yeah, it's just like it would just be like the portion of social media where your DMs come through. That portion of social media right now is what we had with friends, but it was also so much smaller too, because
right, it wasn't generally like a big group thing that you would.
Yeah, it wasn't the world. It was. Yeah, I mean, mostly people you knew already. Actually,
yeah. I mean, some of the ridiculous things I did in, elementary school and junior high and high school. Like if that is something that someone had videotaped and spread out to the world, I truly don't know if I would have survived. I mean, it's really I can't imagine growing up with that kind of pressure. So I think it's education that needs to happen for kids to understand the power of that, and
you don't understand that there's consequence in a statement like that. And I mean, I think even, I don't know if you guys how active you guys are on social media, but if you just see it like in fandom alone, I mean, fandom culture of any sort of fandom can be crazy, and there can be many different sides. I love fandoms. I'm a part of a lot of fandoms myself. But when the group mind comes together in such a passionate way, there could be a lot of bad things that happen on such a larger scale. Then you have power dynamics of oh, well, this person's followed by Scott, so they're better. And now if they say something, then I'm not good enough. So that happens that we've seen. And then I started dealing with that at around 12, 13. And like, I have a baby cousin who was like, got a phone when he was like 8. And I was like, oh, he's like in the thick of it now. So yes, I think there's just a lot of people who don't understand the consequence that comes along with saying something. Because if you're in school and you say, I hate you, like F you, and your teacher hears you, you know you're getting in trouble.
Right.
But if you tweet that, there's like, I mean, is the principal really going to go on your Twitter to look for it, then to find you, to call you down? Are they going to do that? So to your point, I just think not a lot of kids understand the consequence. Even adults don't understand the consequence of what they say online.
I agree. And there's something in the power it gives you to like sit in your underpants somewhere, typing something into a screen that, well, it's just me in my underpants.
Yeah.
I wear clothes when I do that, Scott.
All right. But it's partially why I mean, for the most part, I'm on Instagram now, and that's about it. I occasionally am, I'm a little bit back on Twitter now, but I was gone for a long time, mostly because even my own behavior, I felt like it just feels like it brings out the worst in people rather than this thing that's meant to bring out the best in people in some ways. Or I think that was the intent behind it, at least, is that it's a great way for people to instantly be in touch with each other and spread vital news so we can stay safe and happy. And instead, because it's human nature, it's all been used for the worst parts of things. And it's just so easy to get ugly and attack and tear down. And I just felt like I don't want to be a part of that. And I felt like Instagram, it's people putting up pictures of things they like to see. And for the most part, it at least so far to me, hasn't felt like it has that venom to it.
Okay.
Where some of the
I should send you a hate comment?
What's that?
I should send you a hate comment?
As opposed to...
You're right. I only send you hate comments.
That's right.
Wait, was I supposed to wear underwear to do the Zoom?
Sorry,
not in underwear, Harris.
No, see, look what a dirty boy he is.
I guess I could wear this instead.
There you go.
Underwear.
That's your own Spider-Man cocksock.
Ow. Love it.
That's what I'll do with it. I was wondering what do you do with masks when it's all over? They become cocksocks.
Make a cocksocks.
They become cocksocks.
I think a Spider-Man one would be really appropriate with it shooting a white web out.
Upcycled. Yeah.
Right, JD?
Exactly.
Scott, are you allowed to like publicly talk about I can't remember if this is a story you've told me personally, so if it's not, I'll nix it before I even get too far. But I'm thinking about cocksocks now. Jesus.
They occupy most of my mental state.
Yeah.
Usually.
It was a picture you took, I believe, for Peter on a previous birthday all these years later. Or was it a video? Was it not for Peter? Was it for someone else?
What was it?
I don't know. I feel like you told me this in private, so I don't know.
Oh,
you tried on an old piece of clothing.
For Peter's 50th birthday party, I made a special video for him. I made like a fake documentary about Peter Page.
Oh my god.
And then I ended it with pretending like I was being outraged at where this interview was going. Like it was, you only want to say bad things about Peter Page. Well, I'm done with it. Peter Page is the classiest guy I know. He's about dignity. And then I stood up and I had no pants on. So I had to break out. I broke out. I still had my cocksock from Chris Folk. I wore my cocksock and then I pixelated it out as I stormed off. But that was a private video for Peter and for his 50th birthday, because I couldn't make it out to California for his party. So I wanted them to play that at his party.
If you ever want to just like send that in private, let me know.
It's his property. You'll have to talk to Peter Michael Page about that, because that's
he's knowing the middle name.
That video was made for him. If he wants to distribute it to the public, that's
I'm not public. I'm private.
Oh,
there
I
you
see.
go.
You
send one private link. You send one private link.
See,
and it goes to people's heads.
I'm gonna leak it.
Well, the private link is now public.
It's not like there's not enough nudity of Scott on the internet.
There's not enough.
I do want to point out that we do have a comment that says, Scott, I just so adore you. I just want you to know that.
Perfect.
Jennifer. Thank you, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Do they adore you?
Well, Jennifer Florio does. So
I think you paid her.
I don't have that much money.
Okay, true.
that.
I mean, you did buy me like a $15 smoothie.
It was a very expensive smoothie.
I was shook.
They've gone up since then. Even I went up. Here's white people problem. I drove up to Connecticut today to take my mother out to lunch, and she wanted to get lobster rolls, and I took her out for lobster rolls, and they have jacked up the price of lobster rolls to $24 for a lobster roll.
Per roll?
Per roll, $24.
I don't eat fish, so I don't know. Is that like?
I mean, it's worth it, but that's a lot. They used to be about 20, maybe a little bit less. But I think the lobsters they're not.
How big are they?
They're big, and it's just lobsters. And it's not all right, there's a bullshit version of lobster rolls out there. I'm sorry. Maybe we'll get some haters. Maybe we'll get like some negative comments now. There's a bullshit version of lobster rolls that's like lobster with mayonnaise and celery.
Yeah, that I've seen.
That's bullshit. Lobster roll. It's just lobster and hot butter in a toasted hot dog bun. That's a lobster roll.
You pay $24 for that?
I did. My mother wanted it. What am I supposed to do?
I want another smoothie.
But I did feel a little railroaded.
I want another smoothie. So
I have to get another job to pay off the lobster rolls, and then maybe you can get a smoothie.
How was your puppy?
She's doing okay. She's old
had a birthday.
Now. She's 15. She had just turned 15. She's passed out. She's been like pawing at me. Of course, like as soon as this starts, she's like, I want to go out.
Oh no.
She's finally lying down now. She's old, but she's good. And
she likes me.
She did like you, yes. Gertie was a
Putting
fan.
that out there.
She's a lesbian. I told you that. And
You did tell me. There were a lot of kisses that were given to me.
I'm proud of my gay dog.
Like a lot. No, like Harris, you don't understand. Like I don't think I've ever seen a dog lick me that much in my life. And I'm around a lot of dogs.
Her libido has slowed down a little bit.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Just so you know.
Oh, okay.
So you're not offended. I don't even know. Do you have pets? Oh, you have cats, don't you, Harris?
Yeah, I have 2 cats.
What are
their names?
Yeah, they're one's Paxton, one's Olive, and they're both, I think, sleeping right now. I closed the door from them right now, but
You go with your babies.
they're
Do they have their own social media?
No, they're just on mine. They're
You need to give them their own.
I exploit them enough on my own social media.
It's okay. Make them their own.
Actually, it is a funny question, right? Like, do they? I love putting them on there, and they're sometimes I can't resist, but at the same time, I also think like, what would they say? I mean, they have such interesting personalities. I know. Well, I would bet money that Olive would be like, get me off. I don't want any pictures. Leave me alone.
So that could be her brand. Maybe like all her pictures is like a picture of her ass walking away.
That's a good idea.
Gosh.
That's a good idea.
The elusive Olive. That's her brand.
It's true. Like I tried taking a picture. She was laying on my stack of records the other day, and I tried taking a picture, and the picture is her leaving.
There you go.
My God.
Cats' buttholes are hilarious.
Yeah.
That was.
Yeah. She just gives the stink
I
eye.
know you like buttholes, Scott, but can we not make it about animals today? Jesus.
I don't know that that's an appropriate thing to say.
It's a medical thing.
It is a medical thing.
Oh, now I'm the weird one. Okay, got it. Got it. Speaking of weird and crazy.
Yes.
That was too fast, Scott. Too fast.
Yes.
I want to ask you guys. I know you probably hate this question. As a fangirl, I love this question. And I feel like maybe Harris, I feel like you're gonna be too sweet. Try and not be sweet about it.
Yeah.
I want to know your craziest, wildest fan experience.
Oh. Interesting.
I don't think I've even heard Scott's.
Trying to think.
I mean, there is a woman in Germany. It is not Sabina. But there's a woman in Germany. I feel badly. I don't know. Maybe she's tuning in.
Oh, I think I vaguely remember this story.
I'll check the chat for you.
Thanks, Harris. Make sure I'm in the clear.
Make sure
She wrote me a number of letters. I don't know quite what was going on with her life in Germany, or why she selected me as her savior somehow, but something was going on there that she needed to escape from and wanted me to get her out of whatever situation she was in Germany. And it came to a point where she sent me a letter with like a Xerox of her passport and her son's passport information in it, like that I was supposed to somehow help her get out. And that continued for a number of years. And that was, to me, I mean, that was just the weirdest, because I just felt in a position of like, I don't know what to do with this. And I don't know, do I just say this is again, it was not Sabina. I don't know if this is crazy person or someone who genuinely needs help and I should call Interpol or something. I didn't know what to do. So in terms of crazy, as far as like, I mean, I still think about that, and you know, that's for me the craziest. There wasn't ever any. I don't.
Have you ever been tackled by a fan or anything, or chased, stalked? I don't count.
No, so I wished would, but no, I don't. No, I don't. I mean, there was no. Well, I shouldn't say. I mean, there were some guys at some when we were doing promotional stuff at gay clubs who, you know, were not going to take no for an answer, and it took some cajoling to just kindly back away without backing away, and that's that's about it for me. Harris, did you come up with one?
I'm trying to think of anything. Nothing too wild, like nothing too
nice Canadian you.
No, I'm just trying to think. Like, I mean, yeah, aside from like people being emotionally overwhelmed or like crying or shaking at the grocery store kind of thing, nothing like nothing too wild. But
at the grocery store.
Yeah, there was, but it was it was at a grocery store, but it was someone who was a fan of Smallville as well. And I just remember them being just overcome with emotion, and I was touched by it. Obviously, it is an interesting thing when you don't think of yourself as something that would have an effect like that on someone, and then has this crazy effect on somebody that.
I'm sure also like in a place like that, like not.
And in the grocery store, it's a bit funny. Yeah. You're like, and it is. It sounds cliche, but it's like at a grocery store, and yeah, it was.
Yeah, I think Gail and Randy got the real weird, crazy.
I'm sure
stuff.
They have stories.
Randy, I mean, I remember Randy had a stalker from I think Japan, who once sent him in the mail. I don't know what the combination was for. I don't know what you would do with this, but there were some hypodermic needles.
Oh, whoa.
Mustard packets. And I can't remember there's three things. I can't remember what the third thing was. And she ended up finding where he lived, his building in Dumbo here in Brooklyn. And she was kind of, you know, I think kind of came up and said something to him outside. She was a nurse, I think, from Japan, but she was convinced that she
like flew to America to find building.
Him. And she'd said stuff in her letters. I remember something about that she wanted to convert, like she was going to convert him, like she could turn him straight, essentially, like she believed he could be straight. And wow. I think So Randy, I mean, Randy had more, like a lot more people fetishizing him. There wasn't a lot of people who fetishized Ted. I don't know about Hunter, but there was not a lot of people fetishizing for Ted. But Randy.
You just made me think of something. It was.
Oh God.
It was male requesting a collage of butt shots. That's what it was. Collage of ass shots. Yeah, that's what it was. I forgot about that, but it was a letter. It was like. And it was like requesting a collage.
Did you send it?
That was wild. Yeah, but I sent it to Scott's address.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see it on the wall. It's back right back.
Yeah, it's just
right back there.
I've seen it.
There it is.
Yeah.
How would you even?
That was kind of bizarre, but
how would you even make that collage?
That collage, yeah.
Were you ever thought like, you know what? It's creepy that but I kind of would like that for myself. I'm going to try that, just like as an artistic.
Yeah, for myself, a portrait of sorts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was also interesting that I guess there was an assumption that I had enough shots to create
yeah.
a collage, which was interesting.
Yeah,
Which I do, but it's not something common.
But you know how they do those photograph, or they do those works of art where they'll do like a portrait of someone and it's all like pixelated. It's actually little pictures. You should do like your face, but just like all butts, all pictures
that would be cool.
When's your birthday?
The tinting of them.
Just a cleft chin.
Yeah.
When's your birthday, Harris?
Mine's February 11th.
Okay, so I have a few months to work on this project. Got it.
Have people start in bids. Start bidding in the chat. How much would you pay for that?
Seriously, guys.
The collage?
Maybe if we get it up high enough.
I was trying to remember like what there was. It was so long ago.
That's bizarro.
I don't have a lot going on. I'm fine with rewatching and taking screenshots and different angles and different lighting.
Hunter butts.
The pixelated hunter butt.
Was that the only creepy old guy coming after you?
That I can remember in the mail, yes.
Any priests?
No. No. Yeah, any priest. That's hilarious.
Am I not allowed to say that?
I wasn't religious.
Sure.
You weren't religious? I don't mean in your real life priest coming after you. I mean who like wanted,
they're coming for me.
Thought they could save Hunter somehow, and
maybe that would be an See, the thing is, your creativity is coming up with things way crazier.
Yeah, that's actually a really good angle and question.
Your creativity.
my things I've never thought about before.
But yeah, I mean, maybe there'll be other things that come to mind. But I totally forgot about that one until we talked about it, and then.
Good work triggering him, JD.
Yeah, you brought it out of me with the well, it was the pack. It was the mustard.
The mustard packet is what did it.
Hypodermic needles.
Yeah, I don't know. The mustard packets reminded her of his blonde hair or something. Or if he inject, maybe it was like if you inject yourself. Oh, that might have been. Maybe it was like Band-Aids, mustard packets, and needles. And if he injected himself with mustard and then a Band-Aid on it afterwards, it would somehow cure him of the gay. Yeah, because mustard is like the international heterosexual condiment.
Does that mean I'm gay because I don't like mustard?
Probably. Well, yes.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Okay. So this explains why Randy was weirded out when I showed up at the stage door. Got it. Okay.
That would do it. That would do it.
When Harris and I had our little chit chat, a little pre-interview chit chat, we were talking about how he was a little jealous that I'm in New York and I have access to all this live theater. And I mentioned that I did get to see Randy at a few like live productions, and how just being in New York and having access to theater is something, not everyone has access to. I know, Scott, you've worked on stage. Harris, I don't know if you have. Like, how do you guys just feel about, theater compared to television and movie?
I mean, it's the difference between, and Harris, I'm sure, can attest to this. It's like the difference between recording in the studio and playing live. Like each has their own joys, but there's certainly something a lot more fully cathartic about performing in front of a live audience, as opposed to like you can come up with some really great stuff in the studio and you can tinker with it and get it perfect, and you can leave at the end of the day feeling, yeah, all right, I think we really got something there. I won't know for sure till I hear it, but yeah, I think we got something there, as opposed to the of like having a crowd there and knowing it and getting the energy and having the back and forth, all your neurons firing together with each other that live theater gives you. So they both have great things, but for me, that's it. And I certainly miss not having it's also the same weekend. If you go to blank.com, appearing in the second weekend of the Young Playwrights Festival. So I just worked on a play for the first time in a year and a half. And we had to rehearse it over Zoom. And then we had to record it on our computers and record it in a way that I actually couldn't even see my scene partner as we recorded it. I had to listen to them on an earpiece. And I did not enjoy that. I want to be live with someone, in person. I mean, I think it came out well. I hope it came out well, but it was not as satisfying an experience as just getting to be in a room and working with people and acting with somebody. But yeah, I love it. Yeah, you didn't come to my New York theater experience, JD, and that's interesting. You went to Randy's, but you didn't come to mine when I worked in New York.
Well, were you shirtless?
Oh.
No, but Bradley Cooper was, and that would have been even more of a reason. for you to come.
Zing!
I
That's
He was
mean,
very shirtless in it.
if you still, if you have any bootleg copies of it, feel free to send it my way.
bootleg copy.
I'll take any. No, I just when it gets on the internet, I did not actually just go to see Randy shirtless as a 13-year-old before that clarification.
Oh, was that Equus? What show was that?
I actually always forget. I saw him in 2 productions. The second one was Atomic. It was a musical about the scientist who created the atomic bomb.
Yes, I recall him doing
It was
that.
actually really, really good. Like hearing about it, I was like, what is this about? I don't know. But I saw it twice, like in previews and then afterwards. Free tickets both times. Because I'm cool like that.
Nice.
But that was really cool. But the first thing I saw him in was it was a play, not a musical. And I don't actually remember what it was called, but it was a really beautiful drama. And he was indeed shirtless. And I just remembered saying, oh, he's not like a little twink anymore.
Good for you.
That's
That's awesome. That's awesome that you got to go.
Yeah.
Hey, I know you're the host of this show, J. Dean, and I don't want to, in any way. But do you want I'm just noticing the time that we've been here over an hour already, which it's flown by. Did you want to open things up to the audience for?
I did actually ask for questions earlier, and I haven't actually gotten any.
So nobody cares. That's what
I
you're saying.
wasn't going to say that out loud, but since you wanted to bring that up, Scott.
Come on, people! Like you're all you got to do is type things in. Harris, are you getting something?
Elizabeth Trayer said you are a good man, Scott.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
I'm going to ask questions in the chat, and Harris, why don't you tell us your history with theater while I ask for questions?
Sounds perfect. Yeah. I have a love for theater, and I did a play, the first one in a long time, it's almost 2 years ago because it was June before COVID, or maybe it's a little over 2 years. But anyway, I did it. Yeah, I did a play, and then I was doing a lot of theater training and scene studies with people, and having a lot of fun, and just it was very.
What was the play you did?
It was a German play, but it translates to Hamlet Machine.
Oh, Hamlet Machine.
Yeah, yes. And I did it with a few people. There were 4 actors, and 2 people were directing, and it was really like low-key production. But obviously with that material, it's open to a lot of interpretation, and so the rehearsal process was really interesting, and I learned so many different ways of going about acting in general. And then our performance was a really amazing experience, and just like you said, being in the moment, and everything being slightly different, and you're out there just riding the theater wave of it all. And I did a lot of scene studies where you get paired up with somebody and you work on something for a month or so, and then you get to perform it at a showcase, which was amazing as well.
That's cool.
So I'd like to do more theater in the future, and I do get a lot out of the exploration of the material, and yeah, just the fact that you're fully connected for the time that you're on stage is amazing, and that film is obviously amazing as well, and like the fact that you're taking things from multiple different takes and putting them together to create this scene is also interesting. But with theater, it's been really interesting to explore like the being in the moment the entire time and being connected and just seeing how it unfolds without carrying over like too much of the planning or it's still orchestrated, but it's different. It's like yeah, they're so interesting. And I think they play off each other as well. I mean,
yeah.
The approach or the style carries over to film and television as well. But yeah, it's so I would say anybody. It's kind of like the thing where like every cyclist should try driving and every driver should try cycling. It's like every film actor should try theater and every theater actor should try film and see how it looks from the other side of that.
So you're telling me that I'll hate cyclists less if I ride a bike?
Exactly. And
it is amazing.
Cyclists will hate drivers less if they drive because...
Listen, I'm a New Yorker. We're all going to hate the cyclists. Get out of the road. You don't need to be there.
From years ago back in Chicago where I would bike and I would drive and I would walk, whichever one you are, you hate the other ones no matter what. When I was driving, I hated cyclists. I hated pedestrians. Get out of the crosswalk. And then when I'm a bicycle, I'd be like, fucking cars.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
I mean, the cyclists are especially annoying. No offense. You guys kind of suck.
Well, now that with the electric ones too, it's like they go 20 miles an hour.
Get out of the road. Nobody wants you here. I almost find a cyclist by accident because I talk with my hands and he was on the street and I just made an exaggerated movement and my mother had to like grab my arm or else there would have gone. You were that woman at the Tour de France, like talking and with the big sign.
With the sign.
You knocked the whole Tour de France over. Good work, J-Dean.
Thank you. We do have
sounds like you need to try cycling. It sounds
I don't. I don't know how to ride a bike.
Oh no, that's where it's coming from. The hatred is coming from a real place. The hatred is coming from a deep, deep place.
Wow.
Why did you react like that, Harris? Like, oh no, this poor baby.
Yeah. It's like fascinating. Tell me more. Tell me more about this.
No. Look,
anyway,
special guest.
She had to make an appearance.
Hi. So again, if anyone has any more questions, we are working on a 20-30 second delay. If you're international, maybe longer, but I'd encourage you to type rather quickly. Right now, we do have a controversial question.
Oh.
What are your thoughts on wanting to come back, and why won't they let you?
That's funny.
I like the phrasing of that.
That's from Jennifer. And Jennifer wanted to say that she loves Scott and everything that you do, and she loved Adoptable.
Oh, thank you for all of that, Jennifer. Awesome. I appreciate that. I would say, from having been working on this behind the scenes for a while, look, we all want to. We all have been interested for years and years and have put it out there. And it's gone through various iterations. It's gone through different people. There was a big problem for years of basically not knowing who owns the rights to the show is what a lot of it came down to, because since it's based on Russell Davies' British Queer as Folk, and Showtime then had to get the rights of that to make our version. When our show was done, there was a question, especially after a period of time, was where do the rights go? What does Showtime have the rights to? What reverts back to Russell Davies, or as it turned out, BBC and Channel 4 in London. And so that was a big struggle for years. And we had Robert Gant working on it, who actually went to law school, so he could look into these things. So we had a good team trying to figure things out. And I know there was some discussion at Showtime. I know it was something that was bandied about. And to be honest, and I know this, I hate to say this because we love our fans, but I think honestly it came down to them, for whatever reason, feeling like there just wasn't a big enough of a fan base or a clamor for it. It never, despite all the wonderful petitions that people sign, and every few months somebody who thinks they've come up with this original idea of like, I'm going to put a petition up, and they put this petition up, and it gets maybe at most, and again, not that it's not nothing, but like 1,500 signatures or something like that, and a network or studio looking at it as like, it costs millions of dollars per episode. I don't know if it's worth it if that's what our audience base is going to be. So I think it's come down to numbers a lot of the time. But then what ended up happening, even while we were still trying to figure something out, and and again, we love and all the feedback and the information we get from the fans and the ideas they come up with. And we've talked about Peter, now that he's a great showrunner, writing it and show running it and all that kind of stuff. You know, we've gone through all the different iterations. But what ended up happening in the end is that this gay filmmaker up in Canada told his agent, you know, there's a thing called a rights houses or something like that. So when the rights to a show or a movie expire, a lot of times studios, production companies, whatever, if they own the rights to something, they might sell the rights off to raise more money to make new things. If they feel like we're not going to do anything with this title in the future, we're not going to make another James Bond film, we'll sell off the rights to James Bond. And oftentimes they'll end up at these essentially auction houses for rights that hold them. And so this writer's agent went online and tried to find, all right, what kind of projects are out there? He wanted to work on some kind of a queer themed project. And he discovered that the rights to the British version of Queer as Folk were available at this rights house. And so he said, get him. I don't know, you know, what they paid for him. But so this guy, who I'm sure he's a wonderful writer and wonderful guy, but who has no connection with our version of the show, at least, got the rights to Queer as Folk. And that's that. So
and let's not send hate to him.
What's that?
Let's not send hate to him.
No, I don't want to send
hate. No, not you.
No. I mean, there's nothing to hate about him, and he's you know, an artist looking to do new things. I will say I have a little resentment, and I know Russell is technically
involved. We can feel our feelings in a respectful manner on the internet.
Understood. Yes, we don't. No bullying of this man, please. I'm against all bullying. To me, I don't love the fact, because, you know, they are now going to do it on Peacock, as we talked about earlier. It had been in development for a while, and then it went away, and then it's come back again, and they're going to set it in New Orleans. My feeling is because they've said very clearly, this is not a remake of the American version or a reboot of the American version. It's a reboot of the British version. And as part of me feels like, well, then set it in England. I think if you're setting it in America, it feels like it's, you know, and you're using that name. I feel like they're using the name without really doing the show, right? Because it's got none of the characters that people love from the original one. It's going to be its own thing, which is wonderful. Mazel tov, good for you. All these new characters, and great. Yeah, there needs to be more, you know, strong three-dimensional gay themed characters on television. And we need a lot more diversity than we were able to have on Queer as Folk back in 2000 up in Canada. You need all the members of the rainbow, as I talked about before, but call it something else. Is kind of how I feel. I feel calling it Queer as Folk is riding our coattails and then not letting us have, you know, a pocket. I don't know, it's a terrible one. I've lost it. But that's what's upsetting to me about it, is that it's not our show. And it's whether they're saying it's a reboot of the British version. In the United States, most people know the US version. They don't know the British version. So they're going to think it has something to do with our show, and it doesn't. So as far as, does that mean it's game over? Not necessarily. There could be a thing where Showtime owns the rights to our characters.
Oh, okay.
So we might be able to bring the characters back, and then we'd have to call it something else.
Yeah.
You know?
What about what they did for Friends, or like the Fresh Prince? Do you know? I mean, I don't want you to speak for people that you don't want to speak for, but do you know if the original cast would be down to come together for a few hours and just film about the show?
I think we would be down for it for the most part. Again, it comes down to that numbers thing of how big of an audience do they think they would have for that, you know?
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, you go back to, I feel like a lot of this stuff, the reboot fever started with Veronica Mars in my mind, right? And they were the first one who, like, they launched that Kickstarter campaign.
Yeah.
They were the first one. They launched Kickstarter too in a lot of ways, but they launched that Kickstarter campaign and they raised something like $13 million in a few days just from their fans of the show.
Yeah.
And it takes that many people, I think, to gain interest. I think, you know, honestly, the reason the L Word got a reboot and we didn't is it ended up with a larger audience, at least here in the States, because straight men could watch it and comfortably and be okay with the sex scenes, whereas that was not the case with our show. We had a lot of straight women who watched the show, obviously, who we love, but I think in the end, the volume of straight men who got a kick out of the L word, you know, helped that over the hump, as it were, in a way to where it seemed more marketable to the people at Showtime.
Okay, well,
and again, let me say, this is all my opinion. This is no opinion of anyone else. So if there's, you know, haters,
and no hate to anyone involved, we're
as
just
they say, this is just my hypotheses, my thoughts. I have no idea for sure about any of it, but that's as much as I can answer the question.
I'm just going to take 2 more questions. They're 2 good questions, though. For Harris, did you like playing Hunter? Panda QAF said that she felt for him when the HIV story came to light.
Yeah, I loved playing Hunter, and I loved being a part of the show. And I agree that the show would be really needed in this day and age, and that there are a lot of stories to still tell or continue on with. As an actor, that's a dream role, because there's so much going on, and the depth of it is excellent for an actor. I enjoyed it a lot. I learned so much, and it was such like a time in my life where I was learning so much about everything that I joked about it being like a university for me in a way, because I felt like I grew in so many different ways, and then being around people that were nurturing and professional, and I felt like I was such a dream come true, and I would be happy to continue that role at some point and see where the character ended up, and that it's one of those roles where if you could play that type of role for the rest of your life as an actor, because there's so much depth around it. I mean, so I would do it again, and I would, and I think that type of character and where you could take that story would be relevant today, and by what people say or how they feel about it, I think a lot of people would get a lot out of it, and relating to that character, and seeing that type of character grow up. So yeah,
I think Hunter
so fascinating.
Hunter moved down to New York and taught young wayward kids how to ride bicycles. All these kids who don't know how to ride bicycles in New York. I think he taught them how to ride bicycles, and he opened up a bike shop.
There you go.
In Brooklyn.
That's good. That's good. That's very plausible.
Do we even like Brooklyn stuff?
I think we do. See, I've never been to New York. I can't wait to go eventually.
You need to see me first before you see him. Do not let him corrupt you. I was born and raised in Manhattan, the best borough there is.
It's okay, don't worry. I'll get to Scott's. I'll be knocking on the windows. The blinds will be shut.
Yeah.
First of all, it's a borough, not a borough. So second off.
I'll track. Hey, everything I've heard about. What borough do you live in?
Me?
Yeah.
Okay, currently
if you don't mind saying, I'm just curious. Is there some shade going on Brooklyn?
Well, currently right now I'm outside of the city, but we don't need to talk about that.
Oh, okay.
I was born and raised in Manhattan, in Spanish Harlem. Okay.
That's where the shade is coming from.
Manhattan is the best borough. Like, you have everything that you could ever want in Manhattan. I don't have to go anywhere. Everybody has to come to me in Manhattan. See, now, wait, the accent's coming out. I was doing so well being professional. Hold on, guys.
That's true. It's coming out.
It gets thicker every time you go like this, too.
Shut up. You guys have such
Manhattan.
chemistry. That brings me to maybe our final question. I don't know. Do you guys remember the first time you guys met on set?
Oh, crazy. That's a good question.
Like 5,000 years ago?
Wow. It must have been far after. Or I guess the first read through. Because, right?
Yeah. I'm having a vision of the lunchroom. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because I'm confusing it with me being like 16 years old and in a lunchroom at high school and meeting somebody.
Oh, I was gonna say because you were hungry beforehand.
That's exactly right.
That's so, yeah.
Oh, Jaden. I don't remember. It must have been, you're right, Harris. It must have been at a read-through.
It must have been because...
Which was
because all of my scenes were with Hal and Robert early on, and then
I think until we got to that god-awful age ride, I don't think we got to do much stuff together.
Yeah, I remember. I know for me, I met a few other cast members at the birthday party for Hunter, or at least not met, but had the first scene with a few of the actors at the birthday party, because we did read-throughs, and so I met everybody earlier on, but the first scene working with anybody, I think, was Hunter's birthday party outside of Hal and Robert.
And that was that season 4?
It must have been, yeah.
Season 4. Yeah, and I was a pariah, or Ted was a pariah then. So.
Or maybe we crossed paths in the diner?
Oh.
That's possible too.
Could be.
I'm trying to remember because...
The fans they'll know. I don't remember any of this.
I'm the worst fan.
Was I on this show?
Yeah.
I don't even remember.
I'm trying to trace it back, but actually, I think my first scene with Debbie was Diner, and then
Debbie Diner.
Debbie Diner is the next spinoff. Debbie Diner.
Yes, that's
Double
all the
D.
characters come back. That's
Double
it.
D.
Debbie's Diner.
That's it.
You would love that. Sharon would love that.
Amazing. We
Double
just did
D.
it. We just solved the problem.
We solved it all.
So if Showtime still has the rights to the character,
Showtime will throw money at us for that idea.
Right.
100%. Double
We
D.
did it, guys.
If it's not Harris's butt collage.
Yeah.
If we can't raise enough money to produce the show through Harris's butt collages, then
Arts and crafts. Arts and crafts with Harris.
I'm not opposed to trying.
Arts and cracks.
Today arts and crafts. Today I'm making a collage.
We just leave it wide open for you there, buddy. It's wide open for your jokes, Scott.
Thank you.
Wide open.
Yeah. Wide
open for Okay.
Thank you.
I mean, it's the theme of this channel, right?
That's right.
This is usually the part of the interview where we take it and just crash it into the
That was horribly, horribly wrong.
I think we've told that line. We can start to wrap up. I've kept you guys on here for way longer than I promised you.
Oh, it's all good.
That's okay. As long as the people are happy.
I think
we didn't take a vote on the beard and things.
Oh yes, okay. There is a 20 to 30 second delay. So as we start saying our goodbyes, I need people to vote on Scott's facial hair.
Really cool, right? Cool. Do we have to stay silent for 20 or 30 seconds?
No, sorry.
It seems like a really bad use of time.
Wait, what are you up to? I was reading the chat.
What are they
there's
saying?
Some interesting things going on there, but I missed what you two were up to. But
I said we're taking.
We had some Rogue Jedi 696 says so much shade at Brooklyn.
I know him.
I know. So much shade. From Manhattan.
Actually, Scott, I have to say, you actually live in a nice area. I think I said this to you. I didn't feel like I was in Brooklyn.
That's right.
Just in your immediate area. I was like, oh, okay. I could walk outside here and not feel like I'm in Brooklyn. You know what I mean?
But most of Brooklyn, I've walked almost all of Brooklyn, and Brooklyn is 3 times the size of Manhattan. I love Manhattan. I got no shade for Manhattan. I love Manhattan. No one can afford to live there anymore, but I love Manhattan. But Brooklyn's got a lot of great diversity to it. It's
Dud Scotty.
You need to re-explore it.
No. Okay.
There you go. By the sounds of it, you could explore Brooklyn for a month and not even see.
You really could.
Right?
Are you buying me a smoothie for my excursion? Okay.
I'll buy a smoothie for your excursion.
There you go.
Come to New York, buddy.
I hope so. That'd be so good. Okay.
I want to go to Canada.
BC
has some fun too.
BC has some good smoothies.
But you're on the other side of Canada. Toronto is way closer for me.
Right. Yeah. BC. Yeah. Well, BC is culinarily really similar to LA and.
Yeah.
There's that. Yeah, that was
Wow, that was a dismissive. Yeah.
LA.
Two votes.
Just two votes?
Because nobody's paying attention to the chat but me, because I'm a good moderator. We have 2 votes thus far. Well, I'm assuming one of them is a vote because it said stud Scotty, and then the other one said looks good.
Oh,
that seems like 100% results.
No, because nobody else has responded. Is that
2 of 2?
Like
it's 2 of 2.
20.
There's a couple other good things to note. Wendy Dawn, the beautiful Wendy Dawn, is here, and she can't wait to see you in London, Scott.
Oh, me too.
London.
I can't wait to see me in London too.
Cool. Yep.
Someone wants a road trip with Harris.
There you go.
Oh,
where's that?
Where are you going to go?
A road trip.
Proposition?
There we go.
Wow.
I have a ride to NYC. Perfect.
Oh, you're going to road trip to New York. Perfect.
I got a ride. Yeah, I got a lift.
As long as you visit me before Scott.
Wow.
There you go. There you go.
Possessive.
Yeah, there you go. Well, it's like so much shade toward Brooklyn. It's like,
Love Scott's multicolored beard.
There you go. There you go.
Emphasis on the multicolored
and
very
the
diverse. My beard is very diverse.
The beautiful Megan Bowden has a really interesting question. So the scripts were written so well, but did you or any of the other actors ever improvise during your scenes to better fit how your character would respond?
And let's just make this the last question because we are pushing pretty deep in the night. Harris, thank you for that last question. But
I'll let you go, Harris. Wow, Harris, you just pissed off the host. You will never be invited back to this live stream.
There you go. There you go.
Go ahead, Harris. Do you have any experiences improvising?
So dialogue, no. But action, activity, yes, 100%. Like there were so many little things that, like I remember having breakfast with Ben and Michael as Hunter and putting like tons of sugar in my coffee, or
I like that. I remember that.
Or or like if I had donuts in the scene, I would just eat like the whole bag.
Who wouldn't?
Or there was
Can you say bag again?
Bag, yeah, I know I say it weird, but I say it weird for everyone. That's not a Canadian thing because there's Canadians that don't say it weird. I'm just weird.
We've discovered this.
I don't know who says it like that. But there was another one with cereal where like Hunter had a bowl of cereal, but I was like, let's get the biggest bowl in the kitchen. That's his cereal bowl. Things like that where there was a lot of freedom to experiment with the actions or the things like, the blocking and things like that I felt really free to experiment and create.
Yeah, like Hal had his weird thing with how Michael would hold his silverware.
Yes.
It's like, I know it was a really strong character choice for him, but I was like, did he grow up in the woods? Like, he said, no, Michael was like, he's because he's a little kid and he still eats like this. Like, all right.
That's so true.
That was his thing. Yeah, no, they let you play around. Like you could certainly come up with those little. They trusted the character to you once the character was yours, as far as how you delivered the lines and what you did around them. As far as the actual words, the first season we were given a little leeway, and then I think some maybe took too much leeway. So starting the second season, it had to be like word perfect, and they didn't really want you to stray from that. I feel like I got away with a little bit more at the end of scenes. You do know. I just sometimes feel the need to add things. So I would add things at the end of scenes, and sometimes they made them in episodes. A lot of times they were cut out, but I would sometimes add scenes. The only one time I knew I was being really naughty. And we had to do another take just because, for like, just in case they hated it. But there was some line where I actually broke the fourth wall. So like Ted spoke to the camera.
Oh yeah.
Like spoke directly to the audience. And it was some line about I can't remember. It's like at something like at this point in time, this is the point where I would usually make a trite musical theater reference, but I'm not going to do that or something like that. And it was written in there, and it just felt like such a. And I'm sure I was supposed to say it to another character, but I just turned to the camera and I said, of course, this is where I've been. And I can't remember. I don't know if they used it or not. I can't remember which one they used, but to me, I thought that was such a brilliant choice, and everybody howled with laughter on the set. And then we're like, all right, do it the regular way. So awesome. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely pay. Like, I feel like I'll be really honest. Like, I feel like Peter and I were given a lot more leeway than they were. Very strict with a lot of the other actors, but we could goof around a little bit more because we would at least give them one take where it was the scene,
right?
Written. And then we might play a little bit around with things, and then especially as a little button at the end of a scene, we would add little things if it was a comedic scene.
That's cool.
Just because we were the comic relief for the most part until we're getting gang raped.
Okay. That was a lovely panel.
Good night, everybody.
You did that last time. The last time I interviewed you, you ended like really you had to say that at the end. We were doing so well. So we are going to wrap up. No more questions, Harris.
No more questions.
Harris is going to stay on live streaming. He's going to do the 24/7 live stream.
In the very near future, Harris and I will be on Instagram Live over at the Nerd Alert News Instagram, discussing his music. Harris, where can we find you and your music?
So all over Instagram, it's Harris Allan, Allan Allan, and then YouTube is Harris Allan Music is my channel URL. And then Spotify, Apple Music, all the streaming services. So thank you to everyone for listening. I really appreciate it, and everything's
really good. If you haven't heard it, get it.
I love it.
He's so good.
Appreciate all the support. It's a lot of fun. It's been a great outlet for sure.
Okay, and Scott, where can we find you and all of your glory?
Well, I'm not going to give my address out.
I got it. Just message me later.
Well, look, you know what? I don't know. You can find me at my website. It's myname.com. But I will also say, because some people have asked, you can't find Adoptable anywhere right now because we have a possible, I'm not knock wood, and it may go away tomorrow because it's showbiz, but we have a possible, maybe someone wants to do something with it. So we had to take it down from all the places where it was up. So I apologize for those who are occasionally, I want to see Adoptable, and where did it go? You can't see it right now, but hopefully you'll be able to see it more widely in the near future. Okay. So I will say that.
I hope so.
That's great. Yeah, fingers crossed. That would be awesome. It's so good. I'm excited.
It is really good. That's how we met.
It's killing it. Oh, really?
He dropped it. What was that sound? He released it. I DM'd him for an interview, and then I kept asking him questions about Brooklyn. And then one day I was like, fuck it, we live in the same state. Let's meet up for coffee.
Nice.
And then he was like, okay, smoothie?
Smoothies are safe.
Smoothies. There you go.
You'll see when I roofie you in a smoothie, not in a coffee.
Wow. Talk about going dark.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bill Cosby. Let's end with a Bill Cosby joke. Oh
my God. Guys, this is not fair.
A roofie in your Jell-O pudding.
That is not fair. Wow. You've made worse jokes. Do not make me out to be the bad guy on my own channel.
All right.
It's always you, Scott, but we love you for it.
Thank you.
I want to thank you guys so much. This has been absolutely amazing. It's such a treat for me, and I hope for everybody else. I want to thank the viewers. You guys have been absolutely amazing. A lot of familiar faces that have followed us since my last chat with Scott. Thank you guys for supporting the channel as well.
Thank you.
NanCon is not over. We have another panel in 20 minutes, actually. So
oh my God, that's amazing.
You need to go draw some more stuff on your face. You better get going.
Not my panel. I actually have a break. Thank you. But we're gonna go ahead and end this now. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Thank you, everybody.
All right, guys. Bye.
Bye. We love you
so much,
all.
everyone.